Hi, this is Asim.
This is Sujoy.
This is Amrita.
And you're listening to Khandaan, a Bollywood podcast about the three main Khans of the Hindi film industry.
Amir,
Salman,
and Shara.
Hi, you're listening to Khandaan, a Bollywood podcast regular feed. Thank you so much for your support over the years. We now have a Patreon channel with bonus content and exclusive merch for those of you who would like to support us. Every dollar goes towards creating more and better content. Visit us at patreon.com/Khandaan podcast.
Hi and welcome to a new episode of Khandaan Podcast. My name is Asim Bernie and I'm joined with my lovely co-hosts Sujoy and Amrita. Hey Sujoy, hey Amrita.
Hey everybody, hello.
Hello.
I was wondering if we should do a proper intro like Asim. And then you guys say your name, and then I cut it together with the intro of the movie we're doing. You guys don't want to play?
No.
No, you not even say your name during the entire podcast, so I don't edit it in any way without your consent, right?
I would just say Noor-e Haq. Shab-e ilahi ko bujha sakta hai.
So, this episode, we are doing a listener's pick, and this is a pick from... so, if you're part of one of the tiers of Khandaan Podcast, you can submit a movie and a few movies, and then we can usually pick which one we want to do.
On our Patreon, yeah.
On our Patreon, yes. That's kind of the only way. We do take requests if it's a very interesting request, but... we have a very long list, so we might not get to it. You can get to us if you pay us. So that's the other thing is also this movie is like 3 hours and a bit long, right? So it is like it's worth the time in a way. So this was picked by our listener and friend Turtle Pirate, and she says, while I am in the same age bracket as all of you because of both being born and raised in Pardesi Jaga, and due to a series of conditions put in place by my family, we mostly grew up on my parents' movies from the 1950s to the 1970s, and I didn't get into movies of the Khan era onwards until the late 90s. Amar Akbar Anthony is a childhood favorite that I keep coming back to. It's so chaotic and so fun, warm and quirky and pure masala at its best. A movie with absolutely no logic which profoundly defies the laws of physics and yet. The message is a bit longer. Lovely message. Guys, how many times have you seen Amar Akbar Anthony in your lives?
The limit does not exist.
Yeah. I can't even. I feel like I've always known Amar Akbar Anthony, like my entire life.
It's
so this is one of those movies.
Yeah.
This is one of those movies that I had on VHS. Like of the box of Belgian VHSs I had, Amar Akbar Anthony was on there. So yes, and the thing is, a lot of people, feel, I can be a bit of a fanboyish about Salman Khan on this show, which I can agree. I admit. You don't know my level of fandom of this era of Amitabh. Like, it's crazy. Like, seeing this movie, and honestly, guys, I saw this movie like literally 5 weeks ago. I watched it with my daughter because she loves, she's just going Anthony left and right. She just loves it. So I watched 70% of it, and then I was like, okay, I'll watch the last 30 minutes, 30% for this episode we're recording now, and then I went back and watched the whole thing again. This is too awesome. So when was the last time you watched it?
I can't remember, to be honest. I haven't probably watched it in a long time, but still rewatching it yesterday for the podcast. Well, I watched it over a couple of days because my attention span is a bit haywire since I've been traveling, etc.
Sujoy is a millennial youth, therefore he's part of the video generation. He can't sit still.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening to my attention span, to be honest. But I know exactly. The TikToks ruined me, in a way. So, but I watched Amar Akbar Anthony over the span of a couple of days. But the moment you start this movie, I felt transported to a different era where there was only one source of entertainment, and even then, it felt like home. Do you know what I mean? This movie just transported me into Doordarshan era, watching the songs on Rangoli and Chitrahar all the time. Even if you watch like some portions of the movie, they are so iconic. Like this entire movie is iconic. Like whenever somebody says Bollywood Masala, this is the movie they're pinpointing to. This is the epicenter of that. It's such a pleasure to rewatch this, and yeah, I'm happy to be doing this.
Amrita, when was the last time?
So, I think you guys know this about me, but I am a big clips person. Like I'll dip into something and I'll watch it for a little bit, and I'll rewatch my favorite bits. That's how
Who's the millennial now, Amrita? Who's the millennial now? I watch 40 parts on TikTok in reels. That's how I watch movies.
On the Ultra Movie Parlor channel.
You can't believe what this drunk guy did next. He talks to a mirror.
So I keep watching little clips or the songs from Amar Akbar Anthony every so often, but I can't really remember the last time that I actually sat down and watched the entire thing. But yeah, I was telling us, and when he was asking us when we wanted to do this, I was immediately, because I haven't sat down to watch it, especially with anything other than pure enjoyment, any kind of critical sense. I don't think I've ever watched Amar Akbar Anthony from a critical standpoint. So I was yeah, let's do this.
Can I also say, timing wise, with what's the elections going on in India, could not be a better time to watch a movie called Amar Akbar.
That thought did occur to me as I was watching it, because we'll come to it because the imagery in this film is not subtle. It is the very opposite of whatever subtle might be.
Yeah. I find it challenging to talk critically about this movie because I completely turned into a fanboy, first of all. And second of all, literally the most intelligent minds of, cinema theory have written about this movie. Everybody's watched this movie, and it's very difficult to add something new or something fresh. At least this is going to be subjective and, our own perspective as much as it can. Yeah, let's get into it. I don't think we need to explain the plot, because it's going to be unbelievably hard to do.
Yeah.
And it will make no sense, I think. But yeah, I think everybody kind of knows the story, right? Of three brothers getting separated and then coming back together and being an allegory for, New India or India of that era, whatever it's like a partition trauma. I mean, all of these things we kind of know, right? I don't think
the emergency ended in the March of 77, and this movie came out in May 1977. So that's a big historical milestone of the circumstances in which this movie came out.
Yeah. And I also have to say, this is a typical Masala Manmohan Desai movie, but watching it, in my mind of that time, so many of these movies have gotten mixed together. Mm-hmm. So is it Naseeb? Is it Kuli? Is it Nastik? I sometimes don't know. So I was watching it, and when does Amitabh get angry at God? When does Allah Rakha come in? I kept asking, wait, is this the moment where Hema Malini rides a bike? No, this is not that. So it does kind of still mix together for me, all of
the
these
shared Manmohan Desai Amitabh Bachchan universe of everything everywhere all at once. Yeah, the donut arrives at the end.
What was the key insight watching it this time, Sujoy, that you were watching it and it's shit, I hadn't thought of it?
I had completely forgotten there was a Robert and Bajaj and Mark
Albert.
Albert of the the double role of Jeevan, I had completely forgotten about that. That was like, what the hell? I completely, erased that from my memory.
I think Manmohan Desai also forgot while making the movie. Because it never comes back. He's like, he introduces this plot. And really, I don't know anything they do with it. What do they do with it?
Yeah.
And what was Zabisco doing at an international banking conference?
Also, why is Zabisco wearing a poncho outside a church?
Why does Zabisco do the things Zabisco does? Sorry, I'm getting into this. Zabisco kidnaps Jenny to marry her, but he also wants a really elaborate wedding. Kidnapping ki hai, magar band wala bhi chahiye.
I mean, he's dreamt of this day for so long, right?
Since Easter, he's been thinking about it.
Absolutely. And also the whole, obviously we grew up on the Tapori accent of, Karne Ka, Marne Ka, with Anil Kapoor and Jackie Shroff, and then obviously Rangila's Amir Khan. But the original Tapori, Karne Ko Vaste, Wandani and Gardi Mein Kya Kar Raha Hai, this Amitabh Bachchan, I completely forgot about that version of, the Bombaya accent of Amitabh Bachchan in this. It was hilarious and amazing, and also how Jeevan treats Pran, boot polish karne ka chehra dekhne ko mangta hai, and then Pran does the same accent as a revenge. It's hilarious that they have to copy the accent as well as a mark of status. It's hilarious, man.
Yeah, he also gets his revenge within 30 minutes of the movie. You're done now.
There's no time to waste, man. In this movie, there's 90,000 movies happening at the same time in this movie. There's no time to waste.
Amrita, what was the key new thing that you noticed watching this?
It wasn't a new thing. It was just a whole bunch of things just came together. And I realized that we are watching the story of the most emotionally unstable family in Bollywood, which is saying something.
So many bad decisions after one another.
And it starts immediately. There is no okay, there's a ramp up. No. It starts with Pran walking in the door and immediately just losing his shit. There is Nirupa Roy, up and she's touching his feet for some reason. And where is he coming from? He's coming from prison. The kids are starving, and he's like,
can I ask how long was he? How long was he in prison? I don't understand. These kids are very young. He's wearing the same clothes that he went into, but who are the kids? Who? Akbar kiska bacha?
And then he's like, didn't Robert send you any money? And Nirupa Roy is like, nahi, wo paap ki kamai hai. I feel his poverty. And the kids are literally starving at the kitchen.
Plus, the husband is his driver, so it's still haram ki kamai. He's probably driving drugs and gold bullions around, right?
And this man is like, I've come in, my wife has TB, my kids are starving. What should I do first? I will go confront to Robert. Say
What happens to Bharti's TB at the end? She never gets treated.
No, sir pe lagi na.
It took away the TB and then gave her blindness.
That's andaz apna, right? Sir pe maaro, usi jagah maaro. TB theek ho jayegi.
Okay. If we are talking about medical miracles, the title drop of this movie happens when the blood transfusion is happening.
Yes.
The world famous. There is no bigger cinematic. World famous in India, There is no more iconic Bollywood title drop than this. A particular visual of the three sons giving blood to their mother that they don't know who their mother is. But yeah.
Wait, you're going way in front. We haven't even gotten past the first 5 minutes yet. Because after this, Pran goes and confronts Robert, and then by the time he comes back home, Nirupa Roy has full on abandoned her family.
Yeah.
She's like, "Man, what you go kill my family?" She's like, "Take care of the kids. I'm done." And
can I say also she's running full speed? She's like conceiving. She's like Usain bolting through the jungles.
And then Pran has the 3 kids. Yeah. And he's like, he takes the 3 kids to some random park and he puts them at the feet of Gandhiji's statue. And then he's like, you stay here, I'll be back. So of course, the first thing the eldest kid does is run after him, and then falls down. And then the second kid is like, "Oh, the baby is hungry. I'll go get him a banana," and then he runs away. Like, what is happening with this
I don't think
family?
that baby is ready for solids yet. Also, like, why are you bringing him like, hey, Akbar cannot be Kishan Lal's kid unless you go to jail for 2 weeks killing somebody. I don't know what the laws were in the 70s.
Yeah.
Maybe in the 70s it was like much shorter sentences, but that kid does not look ready for solids, and Anthony gets him like stale roti that he then eats under the church.
Oh, but you know what? There is a baby. Like Nirupa Roy is holding a tiny baby when Robert Said comes to recruit Kishan Lal for the prison stint. So I think like that is the baby, and then it became like a slightly larger baby by the time Kishan Lal came back.
We saw this documentary that traumatized my wife. It was about birds, and I don't know which bird it was, like a seagull or an albatross. They sit on their nest, and if one of the egg drops from the nest because of wind or whatever, they do not recognize that egg and the chick out of that egg anymore. So if the chick drops from the nest, they won't acknowledge him at all. Like it's a foreign person's like egg, right? That's Nirupa Roy in that Archie ki gaadi that she's sitting in. Like,
Oh, that is like the most amazing thing too, because like of course the eldest son is rescued by some policeman who's just like driving past, and he's like, "We'll take this guy home." Then the middle child is sheltering from the rain, and it happens to be a church, and the father opens the door and is like, "Oh, great! Like now we have another orphan." But the baby, there's one uncle who is like doing namaz in the middle of the park.
no janamaz, just a rod.
He just like randomly was like, "Park जाके आज नमाज करूंगा."
देर हो गई है या बहुत जल्दी हो गई, अंकल का कुछ पता नहीं.
And then, like, I guess खुदा की मैं, like, ये बच्चा ले लो.
Can
like,
I just say, as another allegory, the Muslims do a lot of heavy lifting in this movie, just generally. It's not even just taking the baby. They also save the woman. They also give him lifetime skills that he can actually, have a thriving business later on. Other Muslims are also, employing prostitution and having that Hira Mandi going on, There's a lot going on, and they're tailors. It's a lot like the church guys like, tu daru ka adda khol le. And the other guy's like, "Main police, tu bhi police," So
then namaz wale uncle takes the baby home, but on the way, where exactly was Nirupa Roy running? That's what I don't understand, because on the way, she also gets rescued by the same Namazi uncle when she's like blind. Like she's running through the forest and a tree falls on her head.
अंकल बहुत दूर नमाज पढ़ने गए थे पार्क में. बहुत दूर जानमाज नहीं लेके गए.
And then Nirupa Roy comes back home, and there is this constable that lives in their mohalla, and he's like, "हाँ, तुम्हारे बच्चे और तुम्हारा पति मर गया." Like, no investigation, nothing. Like,
Because 5 minutes ago he was like, "ये किशन लाल अपने बच्चों के साथ कहाँ जा रहा है?" Shoulder shrug, the most iconic shoulder shrug. I don't give a crap in Bollywood movies ever. That's this guy. We never see him again.
Yeah.
I'm out. हो गई मेरी investigation. मर गया.
And then this is why I love Manmohan Desai, because like any other movie, they'd be like, like, we need to show the passage of time, we need to do this, we need to do that. In Amar Akbar Anthony, literally, like, Amitabh Bachchan turns around. Like, that is how you know that times have changed and now the kids have all grown up. And then it comes to like, and it immediately starts with Nirupa Roy having another accident, because how many accidents does this woman have in this film? But anyway, she again has an accident and she's like in the hospital, and her doctor's boyfriend is Rishi Kapoor, who's the baby in the park. Vinod Khanna was the eldest son, and then
Why are we doing this, Amrit?
Yeah.
Like, while you're talking, like, this makes no sense. You're like, oh, doctor ka boyfriend ka police officer. Like, let's not do this.
and then, like, basically, like, it's the symbolism that Sujoy was talking about. So it's the mother's name is Bharati, and she's lying, like, very suggestively in the middle, and then Amar, Akbar, and Anthony, or actually it should be Amar, Anthony, Akbar, but like I guess it doesn't sound as good. They're like giving her their blood, and none of the brothers know that they are brothers, but they are united in saving the life of their mother, Lan.
But yeah, and also there's different faiths. Just if that was not clear with just the name itself, right? That's the whole thing that they're doing. We need to break these down. Like, we need to break them down and their stories one by one, because this movie, I read that it wasn't even shot, like, it was very much shot in different sequences, and they just came together for certain for the finale and for some of the fights and things like that, but everything was kind of done pretty much separately. Apparently Vinod Khanna wasn't even going to get like a love interest in this movie. They had to convince Shabana Azmi. So let's start with Vinod Khanna and Shabana Azmi, or how I used to call them, the boring couple. Because it starts well, it starts really well. Shabana Azmi in some kind of Hira Mandi situation. Nadira is being full Malika Jaan over there, Ranjit comes in as the ultimate Ranjit that Akshay Kumar does in the Houseful movies. Wo wala Ranjit,
And he doesn't even get a name change. Like, tu Ranjit hi hai.
They wrote the role that morning, and then they called him up and they were like, Karega? And he was like, theek hai.
Yeah. So he saves her from her mom, her stepmom, and Ranjit runs away. His poor Dadi is sitting there too.
By the way,
what does he do to the Dadi? Because he says, come into my house, live with me, which is super inappropriate. Shabana Azmi has been trafficked. But what does he do with the Dadi? Because the Dadi, I think he kills the Dadi, yaar. I think he's killed her. Wahi construction wali part mein is like, yahan police nahi aati. That's where Dadi is going to be.
Like, Dadi has like, like these really, like the kind of earrings that you can buy at H&M today. And she's like saving it for Shabana's wedding, apparently. And Nadira has like one of the best lines. She's just like, अगर इस जैसी लड़कियों की शादी होने लगी तो हो गई शादी. And I'm like, wow.
No, she goes for harder. She goes like, कोठे खाली पड़ जाएंगे or something. This is Kader Khan dialogue, by the way, guys. Like, I'm just saying, let's not downplay what she says. She goes for 11. Like, turn it up, yo.
And then, so then it turns out, like Vinod Khanna is Amar, and he is now a police officer, just like the guy that rescued him. And and then he just like, so this is like a theme, right? Because in, what is it, Zanjeer? As well, like Amitabh Bachchan moves in Jaya Badri to his house and is like, you are a witness in the case, you can come stay with me.
Can I also just say, why was like live-in relationships such a big storyline in 2005 when it was already happening in Amar Akbar Anthony? Like, Aaja mere ghar mein. Like, what is this? Like, this is a live-in relationship. What are we talking about here? So I think nothing really important happens with Vinod and Shabana until the end, where he suddenly also can play 50 instruments, right?
When the whole Humko Tumse Ho Gaya Hai Pyar happens, right? I understand the Akbar and what's her face, Neetu Singh, Salma, their relationship. I understand Parveen Babi's and Amitabh Bachchan's relationship. But all of a sudden, the Shabana and Vinod Khanna singing Humko Ho Gaya Hai Tumse Pyar, that comes out of from nowhere. That their love story is the the like the least explored, and even their stories even is the least explored.
Boring लोगों के साथ यही होता है. That's what happens. बहुत जल्दी प्यार हो जाता है.
But I did notice one thing about that particular song, and that is, like see, this is the kind of, like, we say that these movies are manic and they make no sense, blah blah blah. But there is always an internal logic to these films, which I think a lot of Masala movies today forget. And you can really see that in this particular song, because when Anthony, it starts with, Amitabh Bachchan and Parveen, Babi, like Jenny and Anthony on a boat. And he says, God promise, humko tumse pyar ho gaya pyar. And then when it shifts to Amar and I can't even remember Shabana's character's name.
Lakshmi.
But Lakshmi, that's right.
Lakshmi घर लाई.
तुम्हारे बाप ने तुम्हारा नाम लक्ष्मी क्यों
Kader Khan,
Yeah, so Amar and Lakshmi. The song says Ram ki Kasam. Yeah, Ram ki Kasam. And then when it's Akbar and Salma, then he says Khuda Gawah, and it's that little thing where it's not like a giant thing or anything, but it follows the logic of what this movie is doing,
Yeah.
And it's so good. I love it.
It's so simple, It's like the Power Rangers. When they're in the suit, it's a red suit, but when they're out the suit, it's also all red and black that they're wearing. It makes sense, logic sense. No?
Also, like that "Humko Tumse Ho Gaya Pyar," since we're talking about it, it's one of the most iconic songs in Bollywood history, because it's the only song in which Kishore Kumar, Mohammad Rafi, and Mukesh are singing at the same time in the same song.
And Lata, right? Also,
and Lata Mangeshkar for all the ladies.
Second story is Akbar, Rishi and Neetu's story. Rishi, like...
Okay, wait, before we even go any further, okay? So I want to know, Asim, like, if you have a daughter.
Yes.
If your daughter became like a really, like a beautiful doctor, she's like really amazing at her job and everything, and like, the Gali Ka Nukkad Wala tailor was the Kawali guy. That was the guy that wanted to, like, marry her and was like following her around. What would be your response?
In short, Asim, if you are Tayyab Ali,
imagine you are Tayyab Ali.
This one or not?
The problem with Tayyab Ali is his argument gets weak because he's going to prostitutes. I think that's the problem with Tayyab Ali. Like he would have had more hand in the discussion, but he basically loses it because of sinful ways. Tayyab Ali. Don't be a sinner, yaar. Like, that's the problem. That's it's liya hara tu discussion. Like, she had the trump card. Like, Taylor se shaadi nahi kar Papa, prostitutes,
Also, prostitute burnt the house down, and saves them.
Unhinged, like Kangana Ranaut type prostitute. like it's like high level.
Having said that, Akbar Allahabadi, the two like big Qawwali scenes, Parda Hai Parda and Shirdi Wale scene.
Yeah.
Rishi Kapoor is the Bollywood Qawwal. Like, nobody can stand to that image. What a showman, man.
He's not just a Qawwal, by the way. He's the king of Qawwali, if you have seen the poster, right? Like, it's written, he's the king of Qawwali.
Is there any question? There is no lie. There is no lie.
But the thing is, Akbar is really living the Instagrammer influencer life. He has tons of followers, tons of fans, but he's still a tailor and he needs to make his money that way.
Social credit bought hai uske baad.
Yeah, it's not only live-in relationships. We're like way ahead of times here,
He also has like a pimp mobile और उसके side पे लिखा है like, what is it? Allah का नाम लेके खोलो or something like that on the side. I didn't notice that until this time. And I was like, wow.
Can I go then also to the Shirdi Wale Sai Baba song? Which the thing is, you watch a movie as a kid, you just accept whatever's going on. Now you watch something and you Google, like, I was like, who is Shirdi Baba? I don't know. Like, I was like, because I think it's a funny thing, because it's like, this is, at my thought, this was like an Islamic Muslim person doing a qawwali, and this is like some Islamic portrayal that I thought, right? Like, maybe it's just in India that they do this and stuff. So I was like, I didn't even know who Shirdi Wale Baba is. So I would suggest people, Google. It's interesting. It's just like one of those things
I understand, like, apparently the reason why that song was included in that film, like, originally that song wasn't supposed to be there. But it was shot at the last minute or something, because Manmohan Desai had just become a follower of Shirdi Wale Sai Baba. So suddenly he was like, kuch to hona chahiye. So if you see, like, in the beginning, when Bharti gives Kishanlal a locket, it is actually Santoshi Ma ka locket.
Yeah.
Which was like a established, like, Hindu practice, and, like, like, people knew who Santoshi Ma was and all. And there was that Jai Santoshi Ma
movie.
Yeah. So everybody knew who that was. But then this Shirdi Baba thing had also just started, and Manmohan Desai basically became a follower, and he was like, oh, like, I need to have something in there. Akbar galega. So and Akbar ko de diya.
And like, this is the biggest Sai Baba movement song ever to come out of Bollywood, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because I literally had, these Muslims were like super into it. They're into it. They're like, they've committed. I was like, wow, interesting. Like, just watching it now, I was good. I was like, wait a minute. I just never had that moment where I was like, wait, what? Because he clearly also has magic powers, because he commands the power of Cobra, because he stops Ranjit and Robert kind of, chasing us after Nirupa. But also then the flame thing, where it fits exactly her eyes.
I mean, that is better special effects than, like, a lot of movies that are being made now.
It still works. It works. It 100% works.
Absolutely.
It works emotionally. It works even, computer CGI. It works for me. It's like, I'm in. I'm as in as those Muslims at Shirdi. I'm as in for this movie.
If I mention another special effects that I found out this time around, it was in My Name is Anthony Gonsalves, when Jenny and Anthony have a moment when they're running at each other in slow motion. So if you see the side frame, the sides, the left and the right sides of the frame are masked out, or they are a different frame than the middle bit where they are running in slow motion, because the sides, you can see the side dancers and the background dancers, they are dancing in normal speed, but in the middle they're running in slow motion. It was something I picked out. It was amazing.
Nice.
Oh.
What do you guys think of Neetu Singh in this?
I mean, I love Neetu Singh, right? Like, she's lovely. But also, I realized the other day that she must have been like 16, 17 in this film, like, when it came out, because she was like 21 or something when she got married. And that was in 1981. So she can't have been more than 17 or like 16 when she made this film, which is insane to me.
There's this meme, right, about like how people back in the day just looked older, like all of them. Like, for Neetu Singh, that's like really the case, I think. I don't know. I mean, she's great. Like, even if she's 16 or 17, I think she's like an amazing performer in this, because she has some, like, that operations scene where she has like the little thing on her mouth, and like Robert is like, tu operation kar.
She's just oxygen mask on.
She's like oxygening, like,
and then there's Nirupa, right? Doctor Saab, darwaza kholo, mujhe maine dargah se phool leke aaye.
Nirupa, I don't give a damn about sterilization of operating room, right? I'm bringing this pollen gift thing I've brought.
She just shows up anywhere with a pool, and she's like,
They need to also employ her sales technique in call centers. She does not take no for an answer.
तू ले मतलब ले अभी.
Her margins aren't great. Her margins aren't great because she's basically giving them away, but she's not taking no for an answer. ABC, you know.
Yeah.
There's a scene where like she goes to the police station to give Vinod Khanna the flowers, and he's like, "Lekin kyun?" Like, why?
He's so done with it. Vinod can't take it anymore. He's just like, flower pe flower, both ho gaya, mai. Kausar, mai.
Coming back to Neetu Singh, her and like the Salma and Akbar's love story is already established when we get introduced to them. They are already in love. They are trying to be rebellious lovers and whatever. And I think not much needs to be said because the chemistry of Rishi and Neetu is just like on fire. Like every time they appear on screen, like you believe they are in love.
Yeah, it's Ram Leela chemistry, you know. People that
absolutely
are banging in real life. And the man, the myth, we have to talk about now Amitabh. You know, I mean, this is Amitabh's movie. Like, there's no like I waited and like I calmed myself down talking about other boring people. But this is literally Amitabh's movie. Like, he gets to do the best songs, the best characters. He has comedy, he has action. He's a Anthony Gonzalez is a low-key magician. He floats over the air, and that thing where he like shuts the curtains down just by whistling. Never explained.
He's Jedi.
Yeah, he's doing stuff that nobody. Plus, he also breaks the fourth wall. He's like, what? He's suddenly talking to us. I was like, what? Didn't see that happening in a 77 movie, right? Like,
oh man, there is a particular line in this movie where Anthony Gonzalez in the end appears as a father when Robert is saying, "Father ka bachcha kidhar hai?" And he's like, "Father ka bachcha nahi, father ko baap kehte, aur tumhara baap idhar hai." He's saying just in the same tone as Kader Khan would.
Yeah,
that's blowing my mind.
Yeah. He dresses so well. Like, all of his fits are amazing. Like, who could wear so many leather jackets without any shirts and still look good?
And it's not just like he's wearing leather jackets without any shirts, but they're also like really short jackets, and they keep riding up every time he has an action scene. And you can see like his co-stars don't know where to put their hands when they're having the fights, because you see them like going like, "Oh no, that's his butt. I can't touch it." They don't know how to deal with the fabulousness that is Amitabh Bachchan.
Which is a good fighting technique, I have to say. It's actually quite efficient that way. Just make it awkward for your opponent, you know. So all the collars are too big, you know, all the sleeves are too short, but he looks amazing. Like, the only man that can rock a white suit. And I want to get back to like the Tapori accent, right? Like, because he's so good at it, right? And secondly, the thing he does is he doesn't lose it in the emotional sequences.
Yeah.
He still has it when he's talking to Nirupa Roy. He still has it when he's talking to Robert, when he's talking to Amar, when he has that scene when he realizes that Robert has actually shot a policeman and it's not the Jadi ran away. He keeps the accent. And having seen so many recent movies with, you know, Tiger Shroff doing it, or we saw the Chandu Champion trailer. We saw Crack, Jeetega to Jiega. I did. I watched Crack, Jeetega to Jiega.
And you harrowed.
But our listeners won, Sujoy. Our listeners
sure.
won.
Okay.
This is not, it's hard to pull off. And literally, like, only the real stars can do it. Amitabh, Jackie Shroff, Anil Kapoor, Salman Khan, Varun Dhawan. These are the people. Varun Dhawan. These are the people that can pull it off. Nobody else can pull it off. It's amazing. But yeah, we have to also just say Kader Khan. It's like we have mentioned the name, but I feel his name doesn't get mentioned enough when we're talking about how good this movie is. And we think about those dialogues. We think about, you know, Olympic ka race ho ya police ka chase ho, you know, like, you know, this is a Kader Khan dialogue because he said that same dialogue similar with Govinda coming out of his own mouth later on, right? In the 90s. So this is, it's so amazing. And then Parveen Babi, who looks like a gajillion bucks in this movie.
Oh my God. Like, The moment like Jenny shows up with her giant hats, her tiered gowns, like, oh my god.
That long skirt when she gets kidnapped with the leather shirt.
Yes.
Oh my god. Like I was like, oh my, I get Zabisco. I understand the villain. Like I get why he got so upset. And also she gets to be funny, you know. I think that's something that Parveen Babi managed to do a lot, be funny. And
and we have to give a shout out to Lakshmikant Pyarelal who did the music, because this is like one of the all-time great soundtracks of Hindi cinema, or of like Indian cinema, I would say, honestly. And I knew the songs, like all the songs. I was singing along to every single song, and I've been playing all the songs ever since since I watched this one from start to finish. And this is so great.
What is your favorite song?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
For me, it's Anthony Gonzalez. Like, maybe not like I would say, oh, this is my favorite, or like listening to it, but watching it, I'm like, this is such a iconic song with like the perfect singing and, you know, the juxtaposition of the exuberance of the, you know, all of that. Like, it's such a perfect song.
It gives you more hemoglobin in the atmosphere.
Yeah. I think like the climax song, like, you know, Amar Akbar Anthony, like that is probably it, because it just has everything. And also it's such a versatile song that you can use it in like multiple situations. Like there are like times when I just find myself singing that song to cheer myself up. You know?
And also how they play with the voices, the layering, like ek se bade do, and then the two voices, teen, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's so good. It's like
I have to say that, like, Mohammad Rafi sings for Rishi Kapoor in Parda Hai Parda, as well as Shirdi Baba, and also in Humko Tumse Ho Gaya Pyar. And in Amar Akbar Anthony, the last song, Anhoni Ko Honi Kar De, Shailendra Singh is singing for Rishi Kapoor, who is like the SP Balasubramaniam for Salman Khan is Shailendra Singh for Rishi Kapoor. And it's like, it's that connection gives me goosebumps. And like that final song is also, it's such a happy moment for me, because it's the culmination of all the obstacles that these three brothers have, you know, faced all their life, and they come together in this, you know, final fight, as well as like the comedy of it, and the, you know, it's such a joyous Bollywood song. Like,
that's what it is. It's a Bollywood song.
It's a Bollywood song. A few things that I noticed watching this movie again now. Two things I, for the first time in my life, saw in this movie was bulletproof vests.
Front and back.
Yeah. Which now that I watch it, those are stab vests. Those are not bulletproof vests. Or either it's medieval chainmail. I don't know what he's wearing. But it works because nobody shoots anybody in the face anyway in the 70s, right? So that's really cool. Also, I realized there's way too many unnecessary backflips and unnecessary headlocks when they're doing fights. And like really weird moves, they'll be lying on the floor and then do a kick upwards, which doesn't, like, that's not an effective way to, like, I was watching it, like how these people are fighting, and they're like there's a scene where Vinod Khanna does a reverse uppercut slap. And I was like, these are not good fight moves. Plus, they're not built at all. They have like these skinny arms coming out of these banyans when they're doing the chal body dekha, charbi chad gayi hai tere mein na. That scene, basically, which was so traumatic for me as a kid, because I cannot accept that Amitabh gets his ass handed in this movie twice. Not once, twice. Zabisco gets him, and then also the boring guy gets him. It's insane to me. I was just mad, like just walking around mad. But yeah, looking at their fighting skills in the 70s, I was like, I think I could beat up my dad, actually. These guys have no skills.
Oh, man. One thing I remembered, though, like watching this that I had forgotten before, was there's a Helen cameo in this.
Yeah.
Helen gets so mistreated, bichari.
Yeah. And she's credited as fake Jenny.
Yeah. Fanny.
What happens to her? She just like vanishes. Like, you know, like there's no like, oh, like this is what happened. No, she's just like that, and then she's gone.
Robert Desai has already moved on to the next movie by then.
I think Robert's twin and fake Jenny got together in that, you know,
and
go down.
Went to London.
Yeah. I'm an international banker in New York. You know? Oh God! And the station cars also, like the cars are really weird. Like in this movie. Like, nobody
Like
can drive them.
Everybody has like like the tailor that like rescues Rishi as a baby. Then Rishi's own car where that as like like the Kavali pin mobile. Like it's just everything is just like dialed up to 11.
It's amazing. It's amazing. I was also amazed, like, just how much this movie works, how much it's amazing. Like, I just had a great time, and I think I needed it this week more than any.
Yeah.
Yes.
I want to thank Turtle Pirate. Like, it doesn't always happen, but thank you. This was literally the medicine we needed this week. And it still was. Amar Akbar Anthony is that tonic. If you haven't watched it in a while, watch it. It's not great on YouTube. There's way too many Shemaru ad breaks in it. It's very tough to watch. Sujoy, final words on Amar Akbar Anthony?
I get YouTube Premium and no ads. But YouTube aren't sponsoring our podcast, so shame on them.
Yeah.
Amar Akbar Anthony, if you love Bollywood, then this is the movie to check it out. Like, you will definitely get a taste of the best of Bollywood of the 70s or 80s, whenever you, pick your decade, I guess. But this is Amitabh Bachchan in his prime. This is the dreamiest that Parveen Babi has looked. The songs by Lakshmikant Kerala are the best, but the hero for me are the dialogue by Kader Khan. It's amazing.
I guess we all could talk about this movie for ages and ages. It is honestly, like everyone said, that Sholay is the greatest Hindi film of all time. I think Amar Akbar Anthony is the greatest film of all time. And I just want everyone to also realize that Manmohan Desai was very invested in business. Like, he wasn't just making movies for the art of it. He, there are like stories. There's this BBC documentary where they followed him around and they were doing like an interview about his process, etc. And he was talking about like how, like when he'd go for the first show of his films, if people got up in the middle to go to the bathroom, he'd yell at them and he'd be like, do it in your seat, don't leave. So this is not a man who is like, like making movies like this for a higher purpose as such. He was doing this because he thought that this was a message that could sell. And I don't know, well, I do know when Bollywood decided that this is not something that will sell anymore, and that is a shame, because honestly a more inclusive approach will always deliver a better product that will affect a lot more people than something that is exclusionary and that's trying to just cut down your audience further and further.
Also, one last thing that I wouldn't mention, that, from the whole Manmohan Desai school of filmmaking, we've gotten so many other filmmakers, especially the one that I would like to mention is Farah Khan, and all our movies have a certain nod or an homage to the Manmohan school of filmmaking, and it's fantastic. That's why we got Mehuna, that's why we got Om Shanti Om, is the reason is Manmohan Desai.
So thank you again to Turtle Pirate. If you want to suggest the movie, join our Patreon from $1. That's not the tier to suggest the movie though, but you can still, people are just like explaining, contractually obliged. I had an amazing time. Thank you for suggesting this movie. Sujoy, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at 93K, and you can follow Khandaan Podcast on all our socials at Khandaan Podcast.
Amrita?
You can find me on Twitter and Blue Sky at AmritaIQ.
I'm at Asim Bernie. Drop us an email at youpodcasting@gmail.com, and we'll be back with a new episode very soon. Thanks for listening.
Khandaan Podcast on the Acting Girl, you're my